Alrighty. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Wade and Chicky Show. I'm Wade, here by myself. And today, we're going to continue on with the SBS series. That is right. Today, well, it'll be but I am going to pick from the prime time game this weekend, between number 8, I believe it's 8. Yeah, it's 8. Number 8, Georgia, at number 6, Florida, in the swamp. I believe this rivalry is called the world's largest cocktail party. I could be wrong about that. But this is a big, huge rivalry game this year. Really big. Georgia and Florida, this is an interesting game because after Georgia was beaten, I believe by a late field goal, I believe it was a late field goal. Actually, no. They went into double overtime and lost by a field goal to South Carolina 2 weeks ago. And Florida, they lost. They got their butts handed to by LSU by 2 touchdowns. That's what can you do? And so, I mean, you got Jake Fromm at quarterback for your Georgia Bulldogs. You got DeAndre Swift running back. You got an okay defense. Georgia doesn't have the greatest defense in the world this year, in my opinion. I haven't really seen anybody that stands out to me. But Florida, backup quarterback, what can you do? Michael P. Ryan, he didn't really get off to a substantial game against LSU and against, I believe they played South Carolina last week. Yeah, they did. And they beat them handily. And so, yeah, this is an interesting game because it is between 2 one-loss teams in the SEC, and I'm not sure how it's all going to go down, but I imagine it's going to be interesting. And so right now we're going to go into team stats here for both teams. Points per game, Georgia is averaging 36 points per game. And Florida is averaging 32.5 points per game. So it's pretty close. Points allowed. Georgia is averaging 10.6 points allowed per game. That's pretty impressive, not gonna lie. And Florida is averaging 15.8 points allowed per game. That's not too far off and not too bad either myself. Total yards. Georgia is averaging 471.3 yards per game. That's some ridiculous numbers. And Florida is averaging 419.6 yards per game. That's pretty close too, and that's pretty ridiculous. Yards allowed. Georgia is averaging 266.7 yards allowed per game. I mean, just looking at the rushing yards allowed by Georgia, it's only 85.7. That's crazy. So they could stop the running. They could stop the run. It's just the pass that's been kind of killing them. And Florida is averaging 319.5 yards allowed per game, which it's amazing to me because with C.J. Henderson as your corner, I mean, he hasn't really been, has been producing at the level that they were predicting at the beginning of the season for him. So he's kind of dropped off a little bit, but he's still a pretty good corner, in my opinion. I mean, he hasn't really gotten burnt down much, as far as I know. So we're going to go to the big games that Georgia and Florida have won and lost. So Georgia has beaten number 7 Notre Dame, which they were number 7 at that point. I don't remember what they are now. And the big loss was obviously in South Carolina in double overtime by a field goal. Florida has beaten Auburn pretty handsomely, but they also lost to LSU, which I can totally understand why. So, and we go to matchup predictor here, and Georgia is favored to win by 60.9%. And if you guys already don't know, Bill is winning 7-3 because LSU did beat Auburn last weekend by, I believe it was a field goal. It was a pretty close game from what I remember. I was hoping, I'm like, can Auburn pull the upset? It was so close. It was freaking crazy. But, and this is my week to choose this week. So, for me to pick between number 8 Georgia at number 6 Florida in the swamp, which the field's actually called TIAA Bank Field, and the game is at 3:30 p.m. Eastern on CBS. I'm going to pick Georgia. Go Bulldogs. That means, well, Bill's going to get stuck with the Gators. And so that's my pick this week. I'm going to pick the Georgia Bulldogs to beat the Florida Gators in the swamp. Hopefully they do, so I can actually start making a comeback. So yeah, that is going to be this week's picks of the big game this weekend between number 8 Georgia at number 6 Florida in the swamp, TIAA Bank Field in Jacksonville, Florida, 3:30 p.m. Eastern Pacific Time on CBS, because CBS always gets the SEC games. Whoop-de-doo. So please leave a like below. Please comment with your opinions. Do you choose the Bulldogs? Do you choose the Gators? Or you just do not care about either team? In which case, whoop-de-doo-dah. Guys, please subscribe more as we're busting out videos for you guys the best we possibly can here on YouTube. And for that, we thank you all for watching. And we encourage you all to please stay classy and go Bulldogs.